Peace and shalom, Israel. Before we start the lesson, hit the notification button because we upload lessons every week and I don't want you to miss a single one of them. Like, comment, subscribe, and if there's a topic you would like for us to cover, we'll see what we can do. So until next time, cue the music. Praises to the Most High God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and peace to everyone joining us on this program. This is the Fountain of Israel's Bible Studies program, and as always, it's an honor for me to stand before you on the Lord's holy Sabbath day. Thank you guys for joining me. Now, we are at the last lesson in our series, The Fruit of the Spirit, the Works of the Flesh. The Fruit of the Spirit and the Works of the Flesh. In fact, I'll have a playlist there that'll have all the lessons together that we've been going through. So this is the last one, and one of the things that I noticed is that there are more works of the flesh, which tells me we got a lot of work to do, a lot of things we need to scave off in our life, a lot of things we need to trim away in our life. So let's just keep that in mind. So if you've been following along, unfortunately I finished all the fruits of the Spirit. We've already got that all taken care of, so now I have to do another works of the flesh, but this is the last one, and I'm going to put the last few all together, which comes out of Galatians 5, and we're going to start at verse 20, verse 20, okay? Galatians 5 and 20. This is where we've been getting this. This is where this whole series has come from, and this will be the last one. So Galatians 5 and 20, which reads, idolatry, witchcraft, hatred, variance, emulations, wrath, strife, seditions, and now we get to heresies, envyings, murders, drunkenness, revellings, and such like. And then he says, of the which I tell you before, as I have also told you in time past, that they which do such things shall not inherit the kingdom of God. And so what we have to understand, if you do these things, if you practice these things, if these things are a part of your life or you're manifesting it in your flesh, you don't get into the kingdom. Okay, people who display these characteristics or have these type of things controlling them, you don't get into the kingdom of the kingdom of heaven. If you speak heresies or you're a heretic, you don't get in. If you have envyings, you don't get in. If you are murdered, you commit murder, have murders in your heart, you don't get in. If you're given to drunkenness, you don't give in. Reveling, you don't get in. And we're going to look behind these words so you can understand these are the type of things. This comes right out of Paul's mouth. If these things have you, if these things rule your life, if you work after the flesh, if you do things according to the flesh, in other words, if you're carnal, you don't get in. It's just really that simple. You don't get in. But we're going to look at heresies. All right, we're going to look in these in the Strong's, which is the Greek 139, right? And heresies, okay? I'm going to get to the real definition, but if you guys look at it in the Thayer's lexicon, it says, an act of taking or capture or storming a city or choosing or choice to which is chosen, right? Then it said a body of men following their own tenets, okay? Heresies, you're following your own doctrine. We got a lot of that going out there. It gave an example. The Sadducees, the Pharisees, the Christians, right? So it talks about that. You got camps out there today on the corner. They have their own doctrine, and you guys heard them all. Esau's the white man, Torah only, Jesus Christ, that's just made up, he's fake, he's not this and that. You have all these different you have all these heresies, you know that, okay? People, there's a sacred name where they have their own teaching, their own sects and stuff like that. It's just a bunch of heresies, things that are not true, okay? Things that are against God, things that were never taught of God, okay? We have a whole sect, okay, with these heresies. And then the last one is dissension arising from diversity of opinions and aims. Does that not fit what we see today? You got this ministry versus that ministry, this camp versus that camp, okay? You even got this Christian versus that Christian. It's ridiculous, okay? It's just utterly ridiculous. Let's look at that now. In the Strongs, it said properly a choice, that is specifically or partly disunion. Disunion, because that's all we have. So heresy is a disunion. It that's what it does. It creates disunion. Okay, so I want us to remember that. It absolutely creates disunion. Okay, so let's keep that in mind. So now let's go on over to Ephesians chapter 4, if you will. Go with me to Ephesians chapter 4. We're going to look at all these definitions, but let's go to Ephesians chapter 4, and I'm going to read 6, starting at verse 6, and I'll go up to 14. I may add another one. It said, one God and Father of all, who is above all and through all and in you all. But unto every one of us is given grace according to the measure of the gift of Christ. Wherefore he said, when he ascended up on high, and he led captivity captive and gave gifts unto men. Now that he ascended, what is it but that he also descended first into the lower parts of the earth? He that descended is the same also that ascended up from above all heavens, that he might fill all things. And he gave some apostles, and some prophets, and some evangelists, and some pastors, and some teachers, for the perfecting of the saints, for the work of the ministry, for the edifying of the body of Christ. See, we're all supposed to be together. Look at what he gave, so that we don't have disunion, that we're supposed to be together, that we hold each other accountable. Iron sharpens iron. But most people really focus on disunion, having their own agenda, their own. That's why I said there's a lot of individualites out there. Okay? There's not a lot of people who are actually trying to pull together. And if they're trying to pull together, they just kind of pull people unto themselves so people can kind of look up to them and worship them and all that. Just ridiculousness. All right? That's what we have. A lot of that. And then you got individualites who they don't want to get with they want to be solo artists. They're completely solo act. Okay, don't want to be accountable to anyone. Nothing. Don't want to sit back in their own corner judging people. That's it. Okay, and then it says in 13, till we all come in the what? Unity of faith and the knowledge of the Son of God, unto a perfect man, unto the measure of the stature of the fullness of Christ. Okay, and then I'm going to go ahead and add 14 as well. That we henceforth be no more children, tossed to and fro and carried about with every wind of doctrine. See, all the different camps, all the different things they want to talk about a sleight of men, slick talkers, okay? And cunning craftiness, whereby they lie in wait to deceive. To what? To deceive. Disunion. Are we getting it? Are we starting it? It's disunion. That's what I'm saying. That's what they try to do. And then 15. But speaking the truth in love may grow up into him in all things, which is the head, even Christ. Okay, so you have this disunion. Okay, they're talking about heresies. Now let's look at this. We're going to look at some more disunion, but I want to look at something over in Acts chapter 24. Acts chapter 24, and I'm going to start at 10. Okay, talking about heresies. Remember, having a sect. You got Sadducees, Pharisees, Christians. You got everybody with their own differing opinion. Now watch this over here. In Acts 24 and 10 it says what? Then Paul, after the governor had beckoned unto him to speak, answered, forasmuch as I know that thou hast been of many years a judge unto this nation, I do the more cheerfully answer for myself. This is Paul, right? He said, because that thou mayest understand that there are yet but 12 days since I went up to Jerusalem for to worship. And they neither found me in the temple disputing with any man, neither raising up the people, neither in the synagogues nor in the cities. He said, I haven't done any of these things, causing disunion. Okay, neither can they prove the things whereof they now accuse me. Now look at what he says. He said, but this I confess unto thee, that after the way which they call heresy, he gave you an example of that disunion, right? Of they call heresy, so worship I the God of my fathers, believing all things that are written in the law and in the prophets, right? So he's talking about, I'm not sowing discord. I'm not sowing disunion. I'm not doing any of that. But you got people who want to uprise and raise up the, look what he said. He said, and raise up the people, disputing. You didn't see me disputing with any man or raising raising up the people, getting them all riled up, anything, getting people to kind of follow me. But we're going to see an example. You know what? Let's see an example of that. Okay? You guys want to see an example of that? Let's go to Numbers 16. And we'll go back to Galatians here in a minute. Let's go to Numbers 16, and we're going to see some of that. Okay? Go to Numbers chapter 16. And we're going to start at verse 1. Let's look at some of that. It says, now Korah, the son of Izhar, the son of Kohath, the son of Levi, and Dathan, and Abiram, the sons of Eliab, and On, the son of Peled, sons of Reuben, took men. So right there, it's starting right from the lineage, like where this person come from. Look at there, through his father, through the father. That's just learning something on the way to learning something, right? Through the father. And they rose up before Moses with certain of the children of Israel, 250 princes of the assembly, 250 people, famous in the congregation, men of renown, men who are elders, who know what's going on. The princes, they knew, okay? They understood, okay? They walked that walk, right? And they gathered themselves together against Moses. Sounds like heresy and disunion, right? Against Moses and against Aaron, and said unto them, you take too much upon you, seeing all the congregation are holy. Now, that sounds nice, but what they're saying is that you think too much of yourself. You think you the big shot. You think you the only mouthpiece of God. That's basically what they're saying, right? He said, you take too much upon yourself, seeing that all the congregation are holy, every one of them, and the Lord is among them. Wherefore, then lift ye up yourself above the congregation of the Lord. You know how Israelites, when we say, you know, who died and put you in charge, right? That's basically what they're saying. Okay, why do you think you're the big shot? And when Moses heard it, he fell upon his face, because he was like, oh, here we go. This dude here. Okay, look at what he's doing. He don't know what he's doing, right? And what he says in verse 5, he said, and he spake unto Korah and unto all his company, all the people he got to roll with him, right? 250, right? And all this company saying, even tomorrow the Lord will show who are his and who is holy, and will cause him to come near unto him. Even him who he has chosen will he cause to come near unto him. Okay? This do. Take you censers, Korah and all his company. He said, okay, so do this. And he said, put fire therein, and put incense in them before the Lord tomorrow. And it shall be that the man whom the Lord does choose, he shall be holy. You take too much upon you, you sons of Levi. He said, no, you the one who think you too much. You get a little too full of yourself. Okay, you sons of Levi. And Moses said unto Korah, hear, I pray you, ye sons of Levi. Seem it be a small thing unto you that the God of Israel has separated you from the congregation of Israel, to bring you near to himself, to do the service of the tabernacle of the Lord, and to stand before the congregation to minister unto them. Now, Korah was a Levite. He was a minister. So he already was doing the work, because, you know, the Levites were the priests of Israel, right? Okay, and they said, verse 10, and he had brought thee near to him, and all thy brethren, the sons of Levi, with thee, and seek ye the priesthood also. It says, so he's already do that. Now you want everything, basically is what he's saying. So now you want everything. He asked a question. Okay? For which cause both you and all thy company are gathered together against the Lord. And what is Aaron, that ye murmur against him? Like, what is the problem? You're already in a good spot. You're already in a good seat. Why are you complaining? Now you want the whole you want to be in charge of everything, right? Why are you and your company? Y'all want to do that. And he says, and Moses sent to call Dathan and Abiram, the sons of Eliab, which said, we will not come up. He said, no, we ain't doing nothing. Okay. 13, he said, and it is a small thing that thou hast brought us up out of the land that's flowing with milk and honey, to kill us in the wilderness, except thou make thyself altogether a prince over us. They say, now Moses, you took us out of Egypt, and we were doing good. It was a fertile land. That's what it means, flowing with milk and honey. It was a fertile land. Everything was good. We had our fruits, our vegetables, our animals. We're good. You brought us out here just to make yourself bigger than us. Just to appoint yourself over us, when we all know the Most High appointed Moses. Right? Just to make yourself over us. And he says in 14, moreover, thou hast not brought us into a land that flowed with milk and honey, or give us inheritance of fields and vineyards. Look what an inheritance is. Look what it say. Learn something on the way of learning something. Look what an inheritance is. Fields and vineyards, which thou put out the eyes of these men, we will not come up. He said, no, we're not doing what you say, Moses. We're not doing it. 15. And Moses was very wroth. He got upset. Okay. And said unto the Lord, respect not thou their offering. He said, so when they pray and have an offering and all that, because these were the priests, these are Levites. Okay. Their offering. I have not taken one ass from them, neither have I hurt one of them. He said, I haven't done nothing to these guys. They're coming up here mad at me for nothing. I've done nothing to them. Okay. And he said, and Moses said unto Korah, be thou and all thy company before the Lord, thou and they and Aaron tomorrow. Okay. And take every man his censer and put incense in them, and bring ye before the Lord every man his censer, 250 censers. Thou also and Aaron, each of you his censer. And they took every man his censer. And you know what? I'll just go ahead and define that for you. Censer, which is the Hebrew 4289. Okay. A fire holder or a fire pan. Okay. That's all it is, a fire pan. It's the thing that holds the fire. Remember like the torches on Survivor Island or something like that? Survivor Island. And then they have the torch and they put out your torch or whatever. Just that which holds that fire, that's a censer. And then of course there's the fire itself, right? So you have that. Okay. And he says, and Korah, he said, and every man took his censer and put fire in them and laid incense thereon and stood in the door of the tabernacle of the congregation with Moses and Aaron. Let's see what else. In 19. And Korah gathered all the congregation against them unto the door of the tabernacle and of the congregation. And the glory of the Lord appeared unto all the congregation. And the Lord spake to Moses and to Aaron, saying, wait. So he spoke to Moses, Aaron. How come he didn't speak to Korah? Okay. So he spoke unto Moses and Aaron, saying, separate yourselves from among this congregation, that I may consume them in a moment. Wait a minute, Korah. It is in this moment you know you messed up. Okay? So he just says, separate yourselves from among the congregation, that I may consume them in a moment. And let's see what happened. And they fell upon their faces and said, O God, the God of the spirits of all flesh, shall one man sin, and will thou be wroth with all the congregation? Okay, now I hope y'all heard that. And then 23. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, speak unto the congregation, saying, get ye up from about the tabernacle of Korah, Dathan, and Abiram. And Moses rose up and went unto Dathan and Abiram, and the elders of Israel followed him. And he spake unto the congregation, saying, depart, I pray you, that the tents of these wicked men, and touch nothing of theirs, lest ye be consumed in all their sins. Okay, so that's why, sinful person, you don't want to be around them, right? Okay, consume in all their sins. And 27, and so they got up from the tabernacle of Korah, Dathan, and Abiram on every side, and Dathan and Abiram came out and stood in the door of their tents, and their wives, and their sons, and their little children. And Moses said, hereby ye shall know that the Lord has sent me to do all these works, for I have not done them of my own mind. He said, I have not decided to do this. This is not me. This is the Lord. Okay, this is the Most High. I'm not doing it. Okay, this is what he's saying. Okay, I haven't thought about this myself. 29. And if these men die the common death of all men, or if they be visited after the visitation of all men, then the Lord has not sent me. Meaning, if nothing happens to them, if they die just like everybody else, you grow old, die, get sick, anything that's common, the regular way people die, the common everyday way people die is what he's saying. He said, then the Lord has not sent me. I'm not his messenger. I'm not his prophet. He don't have nothing to do with me. I'm just making all this stuff up, guys. If these people die the common way that befalls all men. He said, but in verse 30, he said, but if the Lord make a new thing, mean kill them a different way, and the earth open her mouth and swallow them up with all that appertain unto them, and they go down quick into the pit, then ye shall understand that these men have provoked the Lord. So that's the test. Now, if you had a test like that today, after seeing that, would you have any doubts then? Would there be any doubts then? So he said, we're going to do something totally different, something that the Lord don't normally do, very uncommon, right? And you'll know that they provoked the Lord. And humble again. He didn't say, then you'll know that I'm the man. I'm the one in charge. I'm the one that God sent. He didn't even have that arrogant attitude. He didn't even have that. And 31, and it came to pass, as he had made an end of speaking all those words. Wow, look how fast it happened. that the ground clave asunder, broke open, that was under them. And the earth opened her mouth and swallowed them up and their houses and all the men that appertain unto Korah. Everybody who was rocking with him, right? And all their goods. They and all that appertained to them went down alive into the pit, and the earth closed upon them, and they perished from among the congregation. And 35. And all Israel that were round about them fled at the cry of them, for they said, lest the earth swallows us up also. And then 35. Let me just finish this last one. And there came out a fire from the Lord and consumed the 250 men that offered incense. Disunion. And look at what it did. It caught them. They got caught up. Right there. They got caught up. Guess what? Following the wrong person. Following the wrong doctrine. Having your own little camp, your own little thing, instead of just calling it down the line. This is what the Bible says. Hey, that's all I can tell you. I can just tell you what the Bible says, and that's it. Having your own agenda, causing disunion, it can get you cut off. See, the men that were at Korah, they can't stand before the Lord and be like, well, Korah tricked me. But he said, no, you want to rock with him? You want to go with that? Because you want a higher position or something? You want something extra? Because everybody, no one wants to humble themselves. They want to exalt him. Korah and his people, they wanted to take over. Moses is like, you already have a job. You already got a position. You're a priest. What more do you want? Oh, you think you too big. You make too much of yourself. Who put you in charge? Well, apparently the Most High did. Apparently he did. Because apparently he's talking to them and not you. But we're gonna go back, okay? Because we're gonna look at some more definition. I wanted to show you some disunion and the separation and the little cliques and the little sects and all this little stuff people like to do. We're gonna go back to Galatians chapter 5. Go back to verse 20, basically 21, because we did it heresies. We're going to do envyings. Let's look at that. We're going to deal with envyings, which is the Greek 53:55, right? It's thanos, like pathanos, like thanos, right? You got to look that up for yourself. The lexicon is envy for envy, okay? Or in the Strongs, that's the Thayers, okay? The Thayers is, envy, and the Strongs is jealousy, okay? Envy, jealousy. So let's deal with that. Okay? Let's deal with that. So with that, let's go to Deuteronomy 32. I like to do it in such a way. This, my particular pedagogy is to give understanding. That's why we go and look at definitions. I mean, I've had people who hate it when I go look at a definition. They hate it when I go to get a little bit deeper. I don't understand. I would be wary of anybody who doesn't want you to learn. Who doesn't want you to understand, or they want you to understand how they understand, want you to understand their point of view. That's the difference. Okay? When I'm looking in the Strongs or the Thayers or something, or I grab an encyclopedia or something like that, that's not I didn't write it. Okay? I'm just showing you how you can get understanding. That's it. That's why we use a dictionary, a thesaurus, an encyclopedia. I don't know. I don't understand people who don't want to get educated. Okay? It says, with all thy getting, get understanding. Anyway, let's continue. I don't understand people who don't want you to learn something. So let's go. We're in Deuteronomy. Let's go to chapter 32. And I'll pick it up at 16. Okay, 16 to 21. Deuteronomy 32, starting at 16. It says, they provoked him to what? Jealousy with strange gods. With abominations provoked they him to anger. They sacrifice unto devils, not to gods whom they knew not, to new gods that came newly up, whom your fathers feared not, who they paid no regard. That's what a lot. Look, brothers and sisters, Israel, listen to me. This is what all the other religions are all about. This is not a religion. This is a history book. This is an instruction manual. This is our law. This is our culture, right? The Bible, right? All this other stuff, what people build around the Bible is religion. That's what people build around the Bible. All the extra stuff. Okay? And so all the other gods, they have a lot of other gods out there, which are not gods, he says. Okay? Which we have to understand. Let me look at this little g God, right? Little Elohim. Rulers, judges, divine ones, angels, gods. Okay? Gods or goddess. Okay? So that's the Thayers right there. Okay? Mighty ones and stuff like, because we've been called gods, right? As humans, we've been called gods. It's a little g. It's a little different. So let's look at devils. It's H7700. Demon. Okay? Basically a demon, which is basically a fallen angel. Okay? So that's what we're dealing with there. So we just did that 17. Let's go to 18. Of the rock that begat thee, thou art unmindful, and hast forgotten God that formed thee. Remember how they come down, and we're going to get to that, but remember how they come down? Well, they're at the bottom of the mount. Moses is up there, and they make their own gods, right? We'll get to that too. We'll get to that. But so they've forgotten their God that quick. Okay? But we'll get back to that. 19. And when the Lord saw it, he abhorred them because of the provoking of his sons and of his daughters. What does abhorred mean? Now we know it means hate, but let's look at it. Okay? Which is nawats, the Hebrew word nawats, 5006. To spurn, to contemn, despise. Okay? Despise, to blaspheme. Okay? In other words, it's like hate. All right? To abhor them because of the provoking of his sons and of his daughters. Interesting. 20. And he said, I will hide my face from them. I will see what their end shall be. For they are a very, froward generation. Children in whom is no faith. 21. Now, you know what? Let's go forward for you real quick. Forward, 84:19 in the Hebrew. Perversity, a perverse thing. They are perverse, very perverse, okay? Forward, they're a perverse generation. Children in whom is no faith. And 21. They have moved me to what? Jealousy with that which is not God. They have provoked me to anger with their vanities, and I will move them to jealousy with those which are not a people. I will provoke them to anger with a foolish nation. Interesting how that plays out. Interesting. I'm dealing with Israel, and I'm giving them everything. I put a hedge around them. I'm going to make them a nation of people, of which the number of them is as the sands of the sea. I didn't want them to have a king, but they cried out for a king. I'll make them a king. I'm going to put them on top. I'm going to do all these things. He even told them, Deuteronomy 28, all these blessings. I'm going to do all these things for you. I gave you water when there was no water. When there's no way of water, boom, we get water from a rock. When it seems like there's no food, boom, you get manna from heaven. I give you a land flowing with milk and honey. In other words, a fertile land. And how soon do you forget? So you know what? I'm going to provoke you to jealousy. I'm going to bless another nation, which are not really a people. I'm going to bless someone else just to provoke you to jealousy. Just so you can get jealous. And what do you got now? You have camps running around out there, Esau the white man, and he hates this person and all that. And, the kingdom of heaven is not for you, and it's not because you're jealous. Because you're mad, because you're jealous. See, you won't have to worry about that if you just get in line. Cleave unto your God. You won't have to worry about that. It's not your choice. It's not your decision who gets in, who doesn't anyway. But he said, I'm going to do that. I'm going to make you jealous. Okay, so we were just looking at envying with jealousy, right? Let's go to Psalm 78, brothers and sisters. Go with me to Psalm 78. We just have a hard time. Psalm 78 and verse actually 55, right? I just want 3 verses. 78:55. He says, he cast out the heathen also before them and divided them an inheritance by line, and made the tribes of Israel to dwell in their tents. Yet they tempted and provoked the Most High God, and kept not his testimonies, but turned back, and dealt unfaithfully like their fathers. They were turned aside like a deceitful bow. For they provoked him to anger with their high places and moved him to jealousy with their graven images, because they went after these other gods all over again. We can't get out of Torah without them going to another god 1,000 times already. And that's a little bit of hyperbole, just a little. We can't make it out of the first 5 books without looking at Israel going after another god and another god and another god and another god. He keeps going, keeps forgiving, keeps bringing them back. And after a while, he said, you know what? I'm just going to deal with another nation because you guys. Now, has he fully cast away his people? God forbid. Not completely. But we keep pushing it. We keep pushing it. And I'm going to tell you right now, at some point, probation closes. So when it is time for the kingdom to come, thy kingdom come, when it's time for it to come, you still dealing with these works of the flesh, you're not getting in. Not says Robert, so says what the Bible says. So says the Bible. You don't get in. The works of the flesh, it doesn't get in. Let's keep going. Proverbs. I just one verse right there. Proverbs, we're going to go 6:34. Proverbs chapter 6, verse 34. What does that say? It says, for jealousy is the rage of a man. Therefore, he will not spare in the day of vengeance. Okay? Because we can take it too far. When we're jealous, when we're mad, when we're upset, we go too far. How many times have we acted out of sheer emotion and just go too far? We already talked about it like in wrath and stuff like that, so I'm not going to cover that. But how many times do we go too far emotionally? You do so much damage, and then when you don't feel those emotions anymore, when you come down off the high of that emotion, then you're looking at all the damage you had. And some stuff you just can't take back. This is absolutely ridiculous. We're going to continue. Let's go to Romans chapter 10, if you will. Romans chapter 10. Okay? And I'm going to start over at 14. Romans chapter 10. And 14. Okay, 10 and starting at 14, it says, how then shall they call on him in whom they have not believed? And how shall they believe in him whom they have not heard? And how shall they hear without a preacher? And how shall they preach except they be sent? As it is written, how beautiful are the feet of those that preach the gospel of peace and bring glad tidings of good things. But they have not all obeyed the gospel, for as Isaiah said, Lord, who has believed our report? So then faith cometh by hearing, and hearing by the word of God. Okay, he said, but faith comes by hearing, but hearing by the word of God. But I say, have they not heard? Yes, verily, their sound went into all the earth, and their words unto the ends of the world. But I say, did not Israel know? First Moses said, what? I will provoke you to jealousy by them that are no people, and by a foolish nation I will anger you. He already said I'm going to do that. So yes, the Most High will be dealing with other nations, okay? He will. Because he's going to be dealing with other nations. Why? To provoke you and I to jealousy. He'll be like, no, 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 no. I want you, Father. I want you back. Let me get in line. Well, a good place to start is not demonstrating the works of the flesh. Not living that out. Not living carnally. Not living according to these emotions. That's a good place to start. Because you can see right off the bat, okay, these particular emotions, this particular carnality is not going to make it into the kingdom. So we probably want to pay attention. jealousy, envy. We need to take this serious. We're going to go up one chapter. Go to verse chapter 11 in Romans, right? And I just want 2 verses. Okay? I just want 2 verses. Still talking about what we were talking about, right? Romans 11, verse 10 and 11. 10 says, let their eyes be darkened, that they might not see, and bow down their back always. I say then, have they stumbled that they should fall? God forbid. But rather, through their fall, salvation is come unto the Gentiles to provoke them to jealousy. So the whole reason is because he wants to provoke them to jealousy. So that we can understand. It's a heathen nation of people. That's what a Gentile is, right? A heathen nation. Israel is not heathen. So he says, I'm going to deal with these other nations just to make you mad. Just to make you mad. How many are out in the world? Okay, I know we're all Israel now, and our relationships are just a tad bit different. But when you're out in the world, you be with someone for a while, a couple of years or whatever, and all of a sudden you have a couple of fights, and you're like, you know what? Oh, I'm out of here. I'm out of here. And as long as you're single, they don't want to have anything to do with you. But as soon as somebody else shows interest in you, and then the ex now they want to come back. Now they want to, hey, wait a minute, they got provoked to jealousy. Yeah, well, wait a minute, maybe we can work it out. Okay, we can work it out just because somebody else is interested now? Provoked to jealousy. So it's the same thing the Most High is talking about. He said, oh, okay. So when I deal with another nation, now you want me back. Now you want to serve me. When I was good to you, all you did was mumble, complain, backbite, rebel. That's all you did. But now if I deal with someone else, let's move on. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to continue. We're going to look at another one over there in Galatians 5 and 20. What were we talking about? It said we did Galatians 5 and 20. But 21, we dealt with the next thing. We're talking about what? Murder. That's real simple. Okay? That's super simple. Okay? Let's look at this. Exodus 20 and 13. Okay? You know where we find that. Exodus chapter 20. Verse 13. Now watch this. It says, thou shalt not kill. But let's look at what kill, right? Because there's a difference between kill and murder. And let's look at it. Which is 75:23. First thing out the gate in the lexicon is to murder. To slay, kill, right? Now to murder. That means you kill someone without a cause. Okay? Without a cause. Murder and kill, 2 different things. Let me explain. If I go and break into someone's house and I stab them, shoot them, whatever, and I kill them unprovoked, that's murder. If someone breaks into my house and try to take my property, do harm to my children, or do harm to my wife or wives or whatever, whoever in my household, and I kill them, that is not murder. I killed them. I was defending my home and defending my loved ones. Whatever the case may be, whoever's in your household, you're defending them. Unprovoked. If you are in the service and an enemy attacks you, you retaliate, that's not murder. That's killing, but that's not murder. Unprovoked. Killing unprovoked is murder. Defending is not necessarily murder. We're going to continue. Okay, so we dealt with that, but let's go ahead and look at Genesis chapter 4. Let's look at the first murder. Genesis chapter 4, and we're just going to read the first few verses. Chapter 4. We're just going to get in there real quick. 4 and 1, it said, and Adam knew Eve, his wife, and she conceived, and bare Cain, and said, I have gotten a man from the Lord. And she again bare his brother Abel, and Abel was a keeper of the sheep, but Cain was a tiller of the ground. And in the process of time, it came to pass that Cain brought of the fruit of the ground an offering unto the Lord. And Abel, he also brought of the firstlings of his flock and of the fat thereof. And the Lord had respect unto Abel and to his offering. But unto Cain And to his offering he had no respect, and Cain was very wroth, and his countenance failed. So he copped an attitude. He went what? Angry. He envy. Okay. Now we're talking about murder, but what happened? Jealousy, envy got into him, right? So that's what he got. He got mad. And look at who he got mad at. He got mad at Abel. Abel just did the right thing. Offered what he knew was supposed to offer. And then the Lord said unto Cain, why art thou wroth, and why is thy countenance falling? If thou doest well, if you do what I tell you, if you offer me what I actually want you to offer me, shall thou not be accepted? And if thou doest not well, sin lieth at the door, and unto thee shall be his desire, and thou shalt rule over him. So your emotions are going to rule over you. Interesting. Okay. And Cain talked with Abel his brother, and it came to pass when they were in the field that Cain rose up against Abel his brother and slew him. Interesting. And just killed him. You guys can read the rest of that one on your own. Murder. Unprovoked. Abel didn't do anything with him. He's just doing his thing. And then he said, okay, well, this particular, of my flock, of this sheep, or whatever it is, it didn't say what it was, but whatever his flock was, we know it was a clean one because it was accepted. If it was unclean, then it wouldn't be accepted. So we know it was a clean one. I'm going to give this to the Lord and just going about his business. No big deal. That's it. Cain all upset. And Abel gets killed for it. Murder. Unprovoked. So, now that we have a difference, we're going to move on. Now, Matthew 5:21. Let's go there. So we can start wrapping this up. We're getting close to the end here. Matthew 5:21. And 21 says, yea, have you heard that it was said by them of old time, thou shalt not kill, and whosoever shall kill shall be in danger of judgment. So he's talking about murder, because we know that the Most High wanted some people killed. Okay? So if he tell you to do it, it's not murder. Okay? 22. But I say unto you that whosoever is angry with his brother without a cause, unprovoked, without a cause, shall be in danger of the judgment. And whosoever shall say to his brother, Raha, shall be in danger of the council. And a lot of people say, well, what does Raha mean? Or Raka or Rasa, right? Which is, I hit the wrong one. Hold on. Raha is, there it is, Greek 4469, Raka. Okay, Aramaic. Okay, it's an Aramaic word there. Empty or senseless or empty-headed men, basically a fool, A term of reproach used among the Jews in the time of Christ, okay? Raha, worthless, okay? So it's senseless, empty-headed, worthless. If you call your brother stupid, foolish, empty-headed, okay? You call him that, shall be in danger of the council. But whosoever shall say, thou fool, shall be in danger of hell fire. Okay? So he's pointing out, how serious that is. So you can't just without a cause. You can't, if you just angry out of cause. You don't want to know why? Because wasn't Cain angry without a cause? He didn't even have a cause. Oh yeah, he was upset that the Most High didn't accept his sacrifice, an offering. But is that Abel's fault? Let's keep that in mind, ladies and gentlemen. Now, we're going to deal with another one. If we go over here to, if I go to Galatians 5:21, we're going to deal with the next one. We did murders. Now we're going to deal with drunkenness. Okay? Let's look at that. We're dealing with drunkenness, which is the Greek 3178. Basically, intoxication. So you know what that is. Because not only when we get really emotional, we do silly, regrettable things. Talk about envy, wrath, all that other stuff, right? When we get super, super emotional. Notice that a lot of these things are emotions, right? A lot of these. Not all of them, but like drunkenness, that's not an emotional. But it'll get you in your feelings. You drink too much. Because we do silly things. Like it says, not given to much wine. Because you'll have an occasion to blaspheme against God. See, there's different kind of drunks. Some people get drunk and they just go to sleep. There's no big deal. Some people, they get loud and raucous and want to fight. Some people just get emotional and want to cry the whole time. It really just depends. Now, drunkenness. Now watch this. Over in Luke 21:34. Luke 21:34. Okay. And he says, and take heed to yourselves, lest at any time your hearts be overcharged with suffeting and drunkenness. Let's look at suffeting real quick, because I want us to always understand what we're reading. Suffeting, which is 28:97. Okay, giddiness and headache caused by drinking wine to excess. Wow. Okay, suffeting is still getting a little tipsy, a little too tipsy, right? And drunkenness and cares of this life, and so that day come upon you unawares. I hope you're getting it. I really hope you guys are getting it. We got one more. Go to Romans 13:13 before we switch gears to another one. Romans 13:13. What does that say? He says, let us walk honestly as in the day, not in rioting and drunkenness, not in chambering and wantonness, not in strife and envying. All the stuff we're still dealing with. Still works of the flesh. Strife. Wanting to fight all the damn time. All the time. Envying. Jealousy. We're still talking about all the same stuff, right? Drunkenness. So if the Bible is telling you in different spots, and half the time using the exact same words, in different spots, it kind of means it. It's not a mistake. Because of the cares of this world. You worried about you and not worried about getting into the kingdom. You worried about everything except getting into the kingdom. And you want to know what's getting in the way? The works of the flesh. That's what's getting in your way. Besides rebellion and disobedience. That's what's getting in each of our way. That's what's happening. Okay, so we got Romans 13:13. Now, let's go. We got to go to 1 Peter chapter 4. Okay. And I just want the first 3 verses. 1 Peter chapter 4. And it says, forasmuch then as Christ has suffered for us in the flesh, arm yourselves likewise with the same mind. For he that has suffered in the flesh has ceased from sin, has stopped sinning. Okay, stop breaking the law. 2, that he no longer should live the rest of his time in the flesh to the lust of men, but to the will of God. Hello, stop living in the flesh. Get out of your flesh. Look, ladies and gentlemen, this one is not going to make it to the kingdom anyway. It's too much sin on it. That's why you're going to get a new glorified body that never sinned before and won't have sin in it. But you got to make it there. That's part of the prize. You got to get there. You got to get there. That he no longer should live the rest of his time in the flesh to the lust of men, the desires, but to the will of God. Hello. Okay? And then 3, for the time past of our life may suffice us to have wrought the will of the Gentiles, or done the will of the Gentiles, when we walked in what? Lasciviousness, lust, excess of wine, reveling, which we're going to deal with that, reveling, banqueting, and abominable idolatries. We did all this stuff, just party. It's all about your feelings, have a good time, and let's drink, let's party, and woo, that's all that matters. And it's telling us, you may want to watch yourself. You may want to watch that. Now let's go to our let's go to our last 2 places, because we're talking about reveling, right? So when I go back and I look at Galatians 5:21, in the last work of the flesh, revelings, right? So we're going to look up revelings, which is 29:70. A revel, a carousal, basically party, rioting. Just having a good time is, reckless. Come on. I know you guys, you've all gone to a party or a gathering, or seen a party or a gathering or whatever, and some people got out of control. That's reveling. That's carousing. That's rioting. Besides actual riots on the street. Okay? But we're talking about the reveling in the crowd, just having a good time and just get out of hand. And somebody don't want to say anything because it was probably you at the party getting out of hand. So we're going to look at it. Go to Exodus 32. Exodus 32. And we're just going to read the first 6 verses. Now look at this. Exodus 32, verse 6. And it says, "And when the people saw that Moses delayed to come down out of the mount, the people gathered themselves together unto Aaron, and said unto him, Up, make us gods, which shall go before us. For as for this Moses, the man that brought us up out of the land of Egypt, we wot not what is become of him." We don't know what happened to him. We don't know. He been gone too long, right? "And Aaron said unto them, Break off the golden earrings which are in your ears of your wives, of your sons, and of your daughters, and bring them unto me. And all the people brake off their golden earrings which were in their ears, and brought them unto Aaron, and received them in their hand, and fashioned it with a graven tool, after he had made it a molten calf. And they said, These be the gods of O Israel, which brought us out of the land of Egypt. And when Aaron saw it, he built an altar before it, and Aaron made proclamation and said, Tomorrow is a feast to the Lord," okay, to the one he just built. And look at what happened. Verse 6. "And they rose up early on the morrow, and offered burnt offerings, and brought peace offerings. And the people sat down to what? Eat, to drink, and rose up to what? Play." Reveling, just having a good time. Woo, yeah, these are the gods who saved us. Yay, woo, you party over here. That's idolatry, just worshiping another god. Don't forget what the Lord did to you. Forget how he brought you out of Egypt and helped you all this time. Forget that. Don't even worry about that. Now Moses went up to go ahead and get some instruction from the Most High, so he can govern these people, so we know how to live. And all they want to do is just party, because we're good for that. We're good for that. We're going to go to our last place, which is going to be Matthew. We're going to deal with that, but we are good for that. And they just want to revel. Let's just have a good time. And you know what? The Messiah talked about that. He talked about that. And I told you we're going to deal with all these works of the flesh. We're talking about envying and murder and drunkenness and revellings and all that, heresies and all that. As you can see, we touched on all of them, right? And now let's go ahead and just put it all together. Matthew 24. Matthew 24. And on this one, we're going to start at 37. Okay? We're going to start at 37. And he said this. He said, "But as the days of Noah," we talking about Noah, "were, so shall also the coming of the Son of Man be." What he's saying, what's it going to be like? So let's see what it's going to be like. 38. "For as in the days that were before the flood, they were" what? "Eating and drinking and marrying and giving in marriage until the day that Noah entered into the ark." So they were just having a good time, just eating and drinking and partying, just all having a good time. You see? He said, "And they knew not until the flood came and took them all away. So shall also the coming of the Son of Man be." Okay? Then he's giving you an example. Okay? "Then shall two be in the field, the one shall be taken and the other left. 2 women shall be grinding at the mill, the one shall be taken and the other left." You want to be left. Okay? "Watch therefore, for ye know not what hour your Lord does come." So he said being ready. Now he also gives a little example how we're going to be ready. So you don't know when the Lord comes. You don't know. "But know this, that if the good man of the house had known in what watch the thief should come, he would have watched and would not have suffered his house to be broken into." So if you are ready is what he's saying. If you are ready. And he says, "Therefore be ye also ready. For in such an hour as ye think not the Son of Man cometh." But then he shows up, right? And it says 45, "Who then is a faithful and wise servant, who his Lord has made ruler over his household, to give them meat in due season." So who is faithful? Who's going to be doing this thing until he shows up? Who's going to be working and grinding until he shows up? Who's going to be doing it? This is what the Messiah is asking. Who's going to be doing? When I show up, who's going to be doing the damn thing, basically? If you excuse the expression. Who's going to be doing it? He said what? Blessed is that servant whom his Lord, when he come, shall find so what? Doing. Blessed is the one who's going to be doing it. Not the one who's just partying, kicking back, make no big deal. It's all about living for the day, living in the moment, when there's a whole other life that's on the line. Talking about the kingdom, talking about salvation, talking about that glorified body, talking about being in or tabernacling with the Father and the Son. Go read Revelation. We're talking about that. That's what's on the line. But we're too busy with heresy, envying, murders, drunkenness, and reveling. That's all we care about. All these other things are on the line, but we worried about all this other nonsensical stuff. All these things, right? He said, find so doing. He said, verily I say unto you, in 47, that he shall make him ruler over all his good things. You know, the ones that are doing, the ones that are doing, the ones that are doing. But, and if that evil servant that shall say in his heart, my Lord delayeth his coming. Man, he ain't coming. He supposed to been coming the last 2,000 years. Man, he ain't coming. Okay. And shall begin to smite his fellow servants, okay, mistreat them, and to what? Eat and drink with the drunken. Just have no regard for his return. Have no regard for his fellow servants. Have no regard for the Messiah and the Torah. Have no regard. Just whatever. He ain't coming. Is it starting to sink in? All this drunkenness. Okay. He said, the Lord of that servant shall come in a day when he looketh not for him, and in the hour that he is not aware of, and shall what? Cut him asunder, and appoint him his portion with the hypocrites. There shall be weeping and gnashing of teeth. I hope we are understanding what is going on here. That's just how you see an example that the works of the flesh is not going to make it. You see in it with the Messiah telling you himself. You see an example how it's just not going to work. Oh, brother, are you saying drinking is sin? Then you haven't been looking at this channel at all. I am not saying having a drink is a sin. I'm saying drunkenness is a sin because we do stupid stuff when we're drunk. I'm personally not a big drinker. I'm not condemning somebody who have a couple of drinks. Don't care. It doesn't bother me because I know drinking itself is not a sin. Drunkenness is a problem. And it's not going to get into the kingdom of heaven. So what are we doing? What have we been talking about? We've been talking about heresies and this disunion. And we've been talking about envying or jealousy. Talking about murder. Even to the point if you just mad at your brother without a cause. Just have this evil eye towards your brother for no doggone reason. That's a problem too. All of that. Drunkenness, we just talked about. And just partying like it's just like he's just never coming. Now, I'm not saying that the feast days come around and you can't have a good time. Of course you can gather together and have a good time and celebrate to the Lord. He says rejoice. Rejoice before him. Have these feasts and rejoice before him. That's cool. You're doing it in righteousness. Have a little bit of a libation. That's cool. You're doing it in righteousness. And what happened when you let these, what are we talking about? Works of the flesh take over and run your life. Then you are on the express lane to the fire. But that's up to you, brothers and sisters. That's up to you. I wanted to do these series so we can put a spotlight on some of these works of the flesh. And I hope I was turning you towards the fruit of the Spirit. I'm trying to get you away from the works of the flesh and turn you towards the fruit of the Spirit. So that at the end your life means something. That you didn't do all this for nothing. That's all I'm talking about. That all this suffering and sacrifice and turmoil and all these challenges and all the wickedness that's going out in the world, you know what's going on today in 2020, and all these unfortunate things that are happening, that at the end of it all, when you get past it, when you come to the other side, when you cross this great chasm, that it means something. When you are done running this race, you want it to mean something. Do you not? Works of the flesh. Let's do our very best to purge ourselves from the works of the flesh. Let's see what we can do about it. Let's see what we can do about it. Because if you do that, at least you have a chance. At least you have a chance. So this has been a series, The Fruit of the Spirit and the Works of the Flesh. Just check out the playlist. We should have a playlist by the time you're watching this, so you can watch the entire series, and we go and we break down all the fruits of the Spirit and all the works of the flesh. I hope somebody has been edified. And so until next time, search the scriptures and prove all things. Shalom, Israel.